Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Yes? Thank you. Well, good morning. Thank you for making it on time and finding the stage. That was the first challenge of the day. I'm Imen Marzi, and I'm very, very honored and happy to open this morning on a topic that is very key to my heart, which is the cooperation between public and private players when it comes to investing. So on stage with me, we have Françoise Lombard from Proparco, and you can't hear me? You need to, So everybody, to be able to hear me, you'll need to have the headsets, yes? Yes? Okay. So Françoise Lombard and I will be discussing for a little more than 15 minutes on the pressing issues and the trends and also the fundamental shifts that Françoise is observing. And unfortunately, we won't have too much time for questions from the audience, but I hope the conversation this morning will fuel your curiosity and hopefully get to interest you enough to stick around for the rest of the morning while you will have a time for networking. So we'll start with Françoise, and then we'll have a panel between private investors. The three of them will join me in a minute. And then a special duo who is very hard at work to support these cooperation and these acceleration of cooperation between private and public investors. So here we go. Françoise, good morning.
Good morning.
I will say just a couple of questions, and hopefully you will share with us your knowledge and expertise.
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
Delighted to be here.
Thank you. So Proparco and its DFIs peers have contributed over the years to mobilize and help leverage significant amounts of public and private money in seemingly uninvestable projects. You deploy 2 billion euros per year. You have a total of 53 billion deployed. You have a target of €1 for one by the end of 2025 between public and private money. How do you see your mission evolving 10 years after the Paris Accords?
Thank you very much for your question. I will do my best with the mic and the noise behind me. Sorry if it's not clear. So, yeah, okay, thank you. So, development finance institutions have been on a journey over the last 10 years. And I want to highlight maybe three major changes. The first one is the growth of activity of development finance institutions. The Paris Agreement opened a new chapter in the story of development finance institutions because it allowed to increase quite significantly through climate finance the activity of development finance institutions. So climate finance has really been the main driver of the growth of activity of DFIs over the last 10 years. For instance, Proparco's balance sheet has grown from €1 billion 10 years ago to almost €9 billion today. And beyond climate finance, DFIs have firmly anchored their action within the SDG framework over the last 10 years. Second thing is the emergence of blended finance. It's quite new. Just at the Proparco's level, before 2019, we were not able to use concessional resources. So it's a new thing for us, and it has allowed development finance institutions to expand the scope of their action, taking more risks, being more active in fragile contexts. And of course, the COVID crisis, I think, has been an accelerator in that path, in that journey, because it highlighted the need for being more and more counter-cyclical. And after COVID crisis, the European Commission has taken a huge turn with a massive EFSD Plus guarantee program, allowing DFIs, European DFIs at least, to take more and more risks, benefiting from those guarantees. And third thing is private capital mobilization as a new paradigm. And it is new as well. Of course, it is due to two main factors. First one being the increasing volume of investment needed to ensure sustainable transition. And second one is, of course, the increasing constraints on public resources. So DFIs are expected to play a catalytic role, sharing their expertise, preparing more, high quality and bankable projects, and offering risk-sharing mechanisms to other private investors. At Proparco level, we have the ambition to reach a 1-to-1 ratio. That means for €1 on Proparco's balance sheet to mobilize €1 of private capital.
Thank you. So, do you see any French or European specificity when it comes to the practice of development finance? And perhaps can you share an example of how this specificity unfolds towards beneficiaries?
Yeah, thank you. It's really a very good question. I mean, how can we differentiate at the European level or at the French level? I will stay at the European level because I think it's more relevant. And if I have to insist on just one distinctive feature, I would say a real culture of partnership. I mean, in a context, in an environment where we have to be both catalytic, strategic, and where public money is scarce, team up is really crucial. And I think European development finance institutions have understood early the interests of joining forces. We have created, it was in 1992, the European DFIs Association, which is quite active, gathering 15 European DFIs, managing a portfolio of 53 billion euros. The CEOs of those DFIs, meet at least twice a year. Proparco will host the next annual general meeting of European DFIs in May in Paris. We are very glad of that. And we are discussing, both strategic issues, but also very business-oriented. And I want to say that not only we created this association, but we went further, creating a financial tool in common with a kind of small asset manager, fee management company, that is able to manage facilities on behalf of the European DFIs, but also to negotiate with the European Commission on behalf of DFI.
Excellent. So one of the common challenges mentioned by private players to invest in emerging or low-income countries is their perception of risk. I think we can all recognize that we're in a VUCA world with climate, geopolitical risks, social risks, uncertainties. So are there any lessons that private investors could draw from your long-standing practices of managing many stakeholders with somewhat diverging agendas and risk perceptions? Or do you think that private investors should just stay the course and in spite of headwinds and financial pressure? What are your lessons?
Yeah, first of all, the risk perception is maybe a bit too high, but it's not groundless. We cannot say that. I mean, in fragile environments, ticket size is usually smaller. It's more difficult to disburse the funds, and the risk is higher. I mean, this is a reality, even if sometimes it's a bit exaggerated. So this is the first thing. So how do we invest? Because we want to invest in fragile environments, and this is our mission. For that, we have to develop dedicated approaches and dedicated tools, I think. First thing is the understanding of local context. It's crucial. We can rely on our presence on the ground, Proparco's presence, our mother company, AFD's presence. We sometimes have to go beyond just market understanding and developing an understanding of the conflict sensitivity for conflict-affected environments and its dynamics, both on a positive perspective, but also as a risk mitigation, of course. Second thing is, I mean, setting dedicated tools for that. We need more technical assistance for accompanying our clients in those fragile environments. We need also dedicated facilities. We have a fragile countries facility at Proparco. We have also developed for a number of years now a specific equity vehicle for that allows us to take more risks. So we have to really have dedicated tools to act efficiently. And once again, we have to partner. This is key, and I want to just touch upon one initiative that was founded at the inception by British International Investment and the Dutch Development Bank, FMO, and that Proparco's joined recently, which is ARIA, Africa Resilience Investment Accelerator, which is a new approach on prospecting in fragile countries for all the development finance institutions. We also partners with IFC, which is very active in fragile environments. We are partnering with the International Committee of the Red Cross. So partnership is really sharing intelligence on that context is really crucial. It's possible because, you know, Proparco last year invested 540 million euros in just fragile and conflict-affected situations and least developed countries, and just on the scope of fragile and conflict-affected countries, more than 300 million euros. So it's possible.
Thank you, Françoise. Just for the sake of time, I think we skip the fourth question and we'll go directly to the fifth. Private investors are more and more attracted to climate investments around the globe, and you mentioned the evolution of climate finance in your own portfolio. Yet more often than not, climate projects are analyzed through a carbon-only lens, at the expense of a more holistic, well-rounded approach. What about ecosystem dependencies? What about inclusion and equality at the beneficiary level, but also at the regional or national level? So can you share with us how Proparco catalyzes a wider definition of climate, which means including people and living systems, to encourage private co-investors to broaden their view of their impact?
Thank you. I think you're perfectly right in saying that the climate finance story started through mitigation. That's true. But since then, development finance institutions have broadened significantly the scope of climate finance beyond just the mitigation aspects. In many ways, one is on risk mitigation standpoint, of course. More or less, all development finance institutions have developed a kind of rating able to measure or assess the potential negative impacts of their actions, especially on a social standpoint. At Proparco level, we have that, and of course, we are trying to measure and to maximize the positive impacts and to mitigate the negative ones. Then we are financing or investing in more and more projects with a dual approach and a dual impact approach. For instance, we recently financed Acciona, which is a major infra player so it was a sustainability-linked loan, so it's kind of innovative way. The use of proceeds was to finance the Line 6 of the subway of Sao Paulo, but at the same time, for assessing the KPIs of the sustainability-linked loan, it was linked to social aspects, connecting people to solar energy, connecting people to proper water supply. So it's kind of new. And eventually, I want to say that DFIs have raised awareness that the fight against climate change could be successful only if we are dealing with the social aspects of that. So through a more holistic approach and action plan, this is what we are trying to do through developing what we call nature-based solution, embracing a more comprehensive scope of action. And also, just one example, recently, it was our mother company on the public side. They financed a 400 million euro loan to the South African government to finance only the social aspect of the ZP transition, not the green transition, the social aspects, because, people have to accept the transition if we want that to be successful.
And feel included as well, definitely. A last word. The motto of Change Now is with action comes hope. What is one concrete step that DFIs and PDBs should consider to accelerate the money available for projects in low-income countries?
Yeah, I would insist on maybe two things. First one being advocating for a new asset class. Be it blended finance asset class or being development asset class, the recognition of what MDBs or DFIs are doing as a risk mitigation factor is not enough setup. So we have to advocate towards regulators that what we are doing is a major mitigation factor on a risk point of view, and I think it will have a major impact. So this is the first thing, especially to develop private capital mobilization. The second thing is innovation. This is, I think, the next frontier for DFIs. Of course, we already innovate, but we have to go even further in that direction to justify our additionality. Innovation can be going to new markets, new geographies, to finance new technologies, and of course, financial innovations as well. This is clearly where DFIs have to concentrate now.
Françoise, thank you so much. I think as a conclusion to accelerate the propelling force of DFIs and including Proparco, we can retain partnerships, the link with local communities, with local bodies, with local associations, with local authorities, with local actors, and not pretending that we can do everything from such very nice places as Grand Palais. The second thing that I also remember is the importance of analyzing risk in a way that is more objective and taking it into account and not minimizing it. Thank you for these wise words. Thank you, Françoise.
Thank you very much. Thank you.